Hey, good afternoon, everybody. You've got John here from ShowFlow and JP, and I'm product specialist over here. JP's our director of customer success. So we are super happy to have everybody joining. Just to kind of give you guys a quick run through of what we're going to be going through today. We're going to start with a quick poll. Going to talk through a little bit about the ScriptPro acquisition for those that's applicable. We're going to run through some of our new feature updates, and then also just general Q&A, which is great for if you guys have any questions throughout this session. Feel free to send those things through the chat, and we're going to be monitoring. JP's going to be monitoring those, and we're going to be running through. That could be anything technical, non-technical. We're happy to kind of talk through all of that, and then also share a couple other things. And then at the very end, we've got a couple fun updates to talk about of some new features that are in our pipeline that you should expect over the next month or two. So I think we threw up a poll. So if you got a quick second, throw those answers in. That'll just be helpful for us as we kind of talk through this stuff. So I think that's pretty good. Yeah, looks like we're about 50-50 events and sports, pretty close. So that's awesome. And some worship guys and gals in here as well, and some broadcasts. So that is awesome. To kind of kick this thing off, those of you joining who potentially have either never used Show before, maybe you're here just checking this out for the first time. This is one of our quarterly webinars that we're going to be doing and rolling out this year, each and every quarter. So ShowFlow, just in general, to get a quick 2-minute, just run through of what the software is for those who may be joining for the first time. It's a collaborative platform for teams to create and manage different event documents. And those can be rundowns, game scripts. The industries that we serve are typical kind of corporate events, sporting events for game scripting, house of worship, broadcasts, esports is now huge. So that's another really popular one as well. And yeah, there's a lot of features, and I could spend 30 minutes just talking through all of them. But I'd encourage you, if you are checking this out for the first time, go to our website, showflow.tv, and take a look at some of the some of the overview and features right there. In regards to kind of moving forward, in regards to the ScriptPro acquisition, first off, welcome everybody that's coming from ScriptPro. Back a couple months ago, we acquired TSC ScriptPro. So welcome to the family. We're so happy to have you guys here. The TSC has been around in the game scripting space for a long time and have a lot of long-lasting relationships and customers. And so we've been around for about 5 years and have a lot of relationships with our own sports customers. So we're really excited. Really, in a nutshell, that nothing is impacting your current workflow. We are more than happy to share our software. We're moving a lot of teams over, but you're more than welcome to stay in your current software, as we have no plans to get rid of those. The kind of moving forward a little bit, let's kind of run through some of our feature highlights for this quarter. The first one to kind of talk through is one that we've heard some feedback on, primarily from the sporting industry. However, I have already spoken with some customers in corporate events and even broadcasts where I think that the feature is also applicable. And that's called reverse auto timing. And so just kind of running you through that, I'm going to jump over to just an example show right here on my screen. And to demonstrate it, if you're familiar with our timing and the way that we do things, and I don't want to spend too much time giving you an overview on timing, but we have auto time calculations in the software. And the easiest way to show that is just, if you see, if I go to my, I'll go to session 2 right here, you'll see we have an 8:20 start time for that session. As I have durations in here, which you can see the item duration to the right of each element, or item, we are automatically calculating the start time. For those in sports, we also have a third clock that we call clock time. It can also be leveraged for non-sport customers as well. This is a way to show it's like a countdown clock. And so as you add durations, it not only adding time to the start time, but it's also subtracting time from that clock time segment. So just to kind of, that's why I just want to kind of get a quick overview of just how that timing is working. So the way that reverse time works is you can actually give a start time to an element or a segment that's further down the script. And to do that, you just simply, if I go to my start session 3 element right here at item 18, you'll see it's right now we have it set to start at 8:40. Now, depending on a variety of factors, in sports, that could be your kickoff time. For those professional teams that are broadcasting, maybe a kickoff time changes from 7 to 7:15. So that'll impact your pregame. For broadcast, maybe you have a live stream that's going out on a network, and you have a hard start time of a certain session. So that could affect your previous start times as well. So anyways, that's a couple things scenarios where that can be used. But how this works, it's really easy. You just locate the time that you need that is a hard start time. You just simply click on that time. That's going to bring up the edit menu for this time slot. And I'm just going to make this, we'll just make it 9. We'll make it 9 a.m. since we're already on kind of 8:20 a.m. Just going to make it 9 a.m. And now that I've kind of overridden that, I'm just going to press the up on this flag. The flags, and they're called directional flags. The directional flags are what are telling you which way you want us to auto calculate this time. And so I'm just going to press up right here. And what that's now going to do is, as you'll see, is now we've changed our start times to show you and to actually subtract now from that with the duration. So now we're at a new start times for all of these above that based on those durations. So you can think of it as, I guess as reverse calculating start times. So yeah, so that's kind of a quick overview. Jay, you have something you want to add to that?
No, just to say that it's kind of, if you have a hard stop, a time at which all of your elements need to cease by, now instead of knowing that all of your elements are start times are going to be calculated based on the initial value, you can instead set that hard stop time for an event and reverse calculate that, so you know when your first elements need to start by.
Yeah, no, it's great. Yeah, I think that's probably if you have any other questions on timing or anything like that, throw those things in the chat. Happy to kind of talk through any other kind of questions you have. We could spend 30 minutes, even an hour, talking about a lot of timing functionality. And so yeah, we'll just reserve some of that, some of the rest of this time for other questions. Let me jump back to my rundown here, see where we're at. Yeah, so the next thing to talk about is probably our largest update to the software in, probably a year and a half, 2 years. And it's a feature that we call the Global Element Manager. And you can locate that, or at least the page that I'm on right now, by going to showflow.tv/global-elements. JP is going to drop that in the chat, so you guys can go to it if you'd like. But I'm going to run you through just this web page right here. The idea of Global Element Manager is to create a database of reusable elements and items and things that happen during any of your industry shows, whether that's a sporting event or a broadcast or even a corporate event. If you have a lot of elements that are being reused constantly, either constantly throughout an individual show or constantly throughout the year across multiple shows, then this could be a really valuable feature for you. And we've got a lot of teams, currently using it. We rolled this out beginning of the year, pretty quietly. Worked with some teams really closely on it, and have been, iterating on it throughout this year. Just to kind of run you through some of the benefits of this. The first is because this is a database of elements, these things can be reused across multiple locations and multiple events and shows that you're working on. That can be extremely effective and a time saver when it comes to just inputting this data a bunch of times across a day, a week, or whatever, depending on obviously the industry. And then it also allows you to make updates and changes to those elements across multiple places as well. So if there's an aspect of a sponsor break or a commercial break, you've sold a slot on, whether it's a game or a broadcast or something, if something changes, you can apply that edit in one place and publish that across multiple locations. And this is kind of a good video to show that you apply your change and making that edit depending on what it is. This is like, I think this example shows like a player interview, and publishing that change. You can then select which other upcoming games, shows, events do you want to apply that change to, and it just applies that in real time across all users. Another layer of this is allowing a place where you can organize these in in your database. And so we have two different fields that you can apply to each of these elements to help you organize. And those are category and tag. You have complete customization on those. You can create as many categories, as many tags as you need, color code the tags as well. These are great for just allowing you to organize, for games and game scripting. That can be, pre-game, in-game, game ops, sponsorship, PA, videos. For corporate, it could be breaks, or could be sponsorship slots or commercial breaks if it's a broadcast. Really just depends on, on the production type. And then, really, I think at the end of the day, this feature is created to save you time. And talking to a lot of customers, that was a lot of, inputting information across and consistently inputting the same information across multiple locations. And so with this, and this is an example right here, a little video showing an example of being inside of a show and actually seeing your elements on the right-hand side in your global element manager, and then just simply dragging those directly on the left-hand side into your rundown. And that auto-populates all of the notes associated with that element. That could be durations, total runtimes, audio notes, video notes, script notes, those types of things applied to in there as well. Let's see. I think that about covers kind of some of the global element stuff. I'd encourage everyone, if you haven't already, take a look at that site. We also have, which we're going to talk through in a bit, but we do have a learn page, which I was going to, run through that site in a bit with a couple in-depth videos, really running you through how it works, operates for those specifically, interested. So yeah, next kind of on the list here, how are we doing on time? I think we're doing all right. Next up is, for those that do not know, we, in the beginning of the year, released our first native app for iOS. And, it was a long time coming. We've had a lot of customers that have been asking for, for a native app. Makes total sense. And so if you haven't already, I'd encourage you to, download the app. As of right now, it is only currently for iOS. So those of you with iPhones and iPads, it's a free download. You will need to have a existing user account in ShowFlow to access it. So, but you're using your same, email and password to log into those. So I'd encourage you to check it out, download it, give us feedback. If you've been a customer for us for a while, that we love the feedback. You're the people that we're building this software for. So continue to let us know the things you like, or the things you'd like to see improved. And I'd encourage you to download these, and try them out. They're free to download. So, and we've been adding adding updates to this. Primarily, these have been, minor bug fixes and performance stuff. We do have some plans to add more actual functionality in here. At the end of the day, you can do a lot of the stuff you can do in the web app, but we'd still, for any of you that are going to be doing significant editing, I think it's safe to say we would encourage you to do that on a something with a keyboard, you know, a laptop, something like that, as it might get a little bit tiresome or just time consuming, you know, tapping cells and typing with your thumbs. You can quickly move things and make, you know, small edits and tweaks, but yeah, so just a little bit of some notes on that. Cool. I think we want to do jump into some Q&A. Hopefully we've got some questions here. Yeah, JP, you got any good ones kind of queued up?
Yeah, there's actually a few that are pretty similar, so I'll just go ahead and kind of try my best to consolidate it. And that is, one of them is, now that ShowFlow acquired ScriptPro, will any of these ScriptPro features be making their way to ShowFlow?
Yeah, it's a good question. We've got that from a handful of people. I think that would be my probably first question if I was using a software and they acquired, you know, another one that I was either currently using or have known about. And I think the best answer for that is we always, and we're going to talk through some of this and, you know, coming up, but we always are seeking and listening to active feedback, and that's and feature feedback. You know, ScriptPro for game scripting does a lot of things really well, and ShowFlow does a lot of things well. And I think we're working through all of those and listening to the customers that are switching and what they like, and the feedback that they've had. And we will keep you in the loop as soon as those as those features, you know, come into light. I think what I'll do is, just since we're kind of talking about that, I think I might as well just you know, talk through one of our new platforms that we have it's using a tool called Canny, and it's I'll just show it to you right here. This is the URL. JP, can you drop that in the chat as well? So in talking about just I've been discussing, you know, features, feedback, things like that. This is a great place for, it's a platform for you as a user to come in and submit your ideas, your feature requests. But I would say before submitting a feature request, I'd take a pass at some of the existing ones that are in here and either engaging in the conversation around these features or upvote the ones that you see that would be valuable as well. This is one of the, you know, few things that we look at and discuss internally before we make decisions on what we want to add to the software and new things that we want to add. And it's also a great place for you to get notified as we make updates to that feature. Whether that's something that we state that, hey, this is, you know, it's a good idea. It's not something that we'll be doing for, you know, the near term, or this is something that maybe correlates really closely with another feature that we do have planned, or just getting notified that it actually is under review and we are working on it. You know, we had that with the iOS. You know, we had people that had submitted that, and we used that as a place to get some beta testers for it, and also as a place to get some feedback and just get some conversation. It's a really great way to for us to ask questions about how that feature would impact you and how, you know, we can help build it. So I'd encourage you, if you haven't already, you do have to create a sign up or like a login in order to post something. You can view it without that, but you would need to create a login to be able to post or upvote things. So that's a great way to do it. You can also take a look at the roadmap, which is a great way to see what kind of some of the things that we're working on are either under review or, you know, are coming up next. Okay. So cool. So I skipped around a little bit there. What were the other?
We have some other questions.
2 more minutes. So yeah. Great.
Another ScriptPro related question was, ScriptPro had 2 versions, the old Flash version and the new mobile version. Yeah. Which one of these will? Which one of those eventually merge with other, or will both stick around?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, I mean, I think when we've touched on this, hopefully if you're coming from, you know, ScriptPro, you've been engaging with somebody over here in the process. If not, definitely reach out. We want to connect with you. You know, the older version that we're kind of calling legacy, is built-in Flash. If you've been in software land for a while, you know that Flash is just in the internet in general is kind of on its way, probably out the door. We have no immediate plans to just stop supporting it. However, we can't control what Chrome or Safari or Firefox or these modern browsers actually do support. So that's really probably the best answer I can give you there. I'd encourage you to look at at alternatives to kind of move to sometime in the near future. Now, I don't see that going away anytime in the next calendar year. But again, that's tough for me to say. The internet's changing, really fast.
So it would probably, correct me if I'm wrong, be safe to say that if you are still on the legacy, we would encourage you to either switch to the newer version of ScriptPro or switch to ShowFlow.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're comfortable, but again, there are people that are staying and want to continue using it for a little while, and so that's totally fine as well. So don't feel like you have to switch or we're trying to force you to switch. Those will continue to be supported on our end. There's not a whole lot we can do on the Flash software land, but again, I don't see that being impacted anytime in the next year.
Another quick question, will this webinar be available after it's complete? And yes,
yep.
It's being recorded and it will be.
Yeah, we're going to send out a follow-up. Yeah, we'll send out a follow-up email to anybody that registered as well with the recording. So you have a chance to share it or send it around.
Yeah. Another question.
Yep.
If we are using ScriptPro right now, do we have access to ShowFlow?
Good question. It depends. I don't know who you are, but we would obviously love to have that conversation. Definitely reach out to us. You can reach out to us on our website, showflow.tv, in the chat and start a conversation there. If you've been reached out by a ShowFlow representative, you can respond to them and ask. You don't have, by default, you don't have access to ShowFlow. If a switch is something that you're interested in, we would want to schedule probably a call, an online demo, kind of run you through the software, and we can even migrate your information from that software into ShowFlow. We do have a trial available that we could set you up with, and if you want to kind of have play around a little bit with it, that's always an option and is a good way to kind of test it out and see how that fits.
Another question is in regard to reordering columns and how to force a column order on everyone.
Oh yeah, it's a good question. Very specific. I like that. Yeah, so there is a way to set, as those that are users likely know, one of the great features in ShowFlow is each user that's viewing the software can customize the column order layout to their liking. And when I say columns, I mean, all these things, these department columns across the top. I can come in here as, I'm logged in as myself, John Alexander. I can come in here and I can hide the lighting column and kind of go that route. And each crew member can do the same thing. If you want to force a column order layout, there's not a way to force people to where they can't hide a column. However, if you want to force the layout like left to right, the way that you would do that in a show is I go back to this event dashboard, and you can see I've got I'm in the rundown show right here. I click the pencil icon, which pulls up my show settings menu, and then at the very bottom you're going to see column order reset, and you can only do this as an admin. But so we got a few admins on here, but if I want to force everyone to have as John Alexander's layout, I select John, and then I hit this little circle icon, and we're going to confirm that and let you know what's going to happen. Are you sure we want to reset every user's column to John Alexander's column order? If they have hidden them, they will still remain hidden. But if they show all columns, they're going to be in that default column order or that column layout, like left to right. But good question. Hopefully that answers that.
Yeah. We also got a question about logging into the mobile device as opposed to the web app and whether or not you use the same login.
Yes, it is going to be the same same login. The login is your email that you've used on the web app, and your password, is the same.
Mm-hmm.
We do have a password reset. I know I'm definitely a person that always forgets those, so we've got a password reset if you happen to forget it.
Yes.
We probably keep the questions coming in, but there's a couple more things. I want to be courteous of everybody's time. We only got 5 minutes left. I want to go through a couple more things, and then at the very end, what we will do is we'll stick around and continue to answer questions for anybody that's willing to kind of do that. So let me jump back in to this just to run through a couple of the final things that we wanted to talk through. We released a new another kind of website or platform to help our customers, and this is our Learn page. We've been directing a lot of you already to it, and we are actively adding and updating these. The website to that is learn.showflow.tv. JP, you want to throw that in the channel as well? This is a place we've got, I believe it's now probably upwards of 100 articles and videos and things like that. But you can actually, on here, you can search for your own questions and answers. And we're going to, if I just search for something like a highlight, we'll probably get a handful of articles on certain highlights, like a row highlight. And you'll see here, we've got a breakdown of how to do certain things. We throw images, GIFs, even embed videos and things like that in there. Or you can self-discover and go to some of the getting started, ShowFlow 101s. If you're a show caller or calling events, we've got a show callers little page for you as well, some timing, pro tips, best practices, and then some FAQ stuff as well. So great tool. Bookmark this one. Great way to if you have a question, I'd encourage you to go here first and try to find the answer. And then if not, as we've consistently told you guys, continue to use our in-app chat support for any questions that you have throughout it. We're actively talking to you guys all day, so continue to send those messages. We can have real-time conversations with you and your other users if you're on a team without leaving the software, and we can send you links, images, different things like that. Cool. And then let's see. Yeah, do you have something else to add?
And also inside of that educational resources portal is where you'll find our release notes. So if you're ever curious as to how regularly we are pushing changes to the app in both the mobile version and the web app version, and also what we pushed up, you can see that. Yeah, in our FAQ
section in that Learn page, you'll see we have an article called Release Notes. JP just threw it in there. Yep. And then, this is a great way if you want to get a pulse on, we're actively updating. We just released something, some updates to the web app just this week or last week. And we did some iOS updates as well. So it's a good way to get a pulse on some of the new stuff. The bigger, larger updates, we will be notifying you via, the email and things like that. But it's a great way to get a pulse on, how quickly we are still continuing to add and update and enhance the software. Yeah, and then appreciate, I don't know how many people we have left or have stuck around, but I really appreciate everyone sticking around, and we're going to continue to answer these questions. But to show you guys, and I know we've already kind of shared and showed a few people, over the last few weeks, but we've got actually three, but we're going to show you only two today. Really cool stuff that we're working on over here. The first is a big one, and we're calling it prompter view. And the idea is, and I'll show you an image right here, which is all I have to share. We are testing it internally, but it's a prompter view. And the idea here is a lot of our customers are inputting scripts, whether that's a PA script, whether that's speaker notes for a corporate event, or whether that's a really heavily scripted script into ShowFlow. And so we've listened to a lot of the feedback that have come from people using the existing system in there, and we've built this. It's an alternative view in ShowFlow And some of the high-level features of it are this script is interconnected to the rundown. So it's basically it's a view that you're going to expand from our existing feature view, which you just get to by clicking any of your script columns and go to take the feature view, which is a split view of of your rundown and then of the script on the right hand side. This will allow you to make that script on the right hand side full screen. And if I jump back in, with that, you can very quickly on the right hand side, we're going to have a slide out menu, which will allow you to drag the text size, increase the text. You can also increase a line height. You can also adjust a very exciting auto scrolling feature. So you can adjust how fast you want this to auto scroll. You can also override and increase font weight. You can add a read arrow, which will show up on the left hand side. You can do force caps, enabled or disabled, and then also the ability to mirror. For those that are using existing teleprompter systems, they are mirroring that text, for recording or anything like that. Adding that in there as well. We also have some other, just baked in stuff. We're going to keep track, and there's a word counter at the bottom, character counter, and then even an estimated read time of that script as well. Some of the cool stuff with this is, we're really trying to, and as you'll see in the next feature too, we're really trying to help. There's a lot of places in the production space that are hardware, software, that are doing a lot of really important things, but they're not interconnected. And so that's really what this next batch of releases are helping to accomplish, is keeping those things, keeping that value that you've gotten from those, adding more, and then also adding it to where you really only have to make updates and changes in one location. If you're using a teleprompter system, you're likely uploading that text file before a show. But if something changes, you have to go back, make the update, apply that change, save it, and re-upload. So this allows you to just swap a speaker or an element, and that script is automatically tied to it. This view is meant to be outputted, in a mirrored downstage monitor, whatever, a screen somewhere, behind the scenes, and it is run as a, somebody sharing their screen and then actually scrolling or enabling that auto tracking as well. Yeah, so that's kind of that one. I won't spend too much time on that. I know we're already kind of going over. I want to show one more, which is, let me jump back to my this other view. The next feature we'll talk about is called monitor view, and or I'm sorry, display view. We've still tossing around a couple of the names for it, but so this is a cool one. Those in sports, and then even corporate and broadcast and worship. This is a really cool one. So we've had a lot of customers who send us videos, put photos, if you have them, send them our way, of people using ShowFlow on site. And oftentimes this means a control room view on a monitor or a backstage shot of this for multiple people. So what we're doing here is, this is another alternative view that is meant to be in a display setting, in a monitor, in a, whether that's a 50-inch or 30-inch or whatever, or even bigger, 75-inch. And how we organize it is, we're only showing 4 elements. The previous one, the current one being tracked using the show color tracking feature. And then also you can define one column, one department column, which could be, audio, video, could be speaker notes, could be whatever. But you can set you can set up multiple of these different views across, different settings. So it's, again, you're logging in on a user, setting up that view and mirroring that to, as many places as kind of you see fit. So really great way. The idea of this is to show this stuff from being able to see it from a farther distance away. A lot of the people that are using it, are showing a lot of content, and it's not as helpful for people that are maybe viewing this from a distance. So the font size is increased, and we're only always showing 4 stuff. And it's, again, auto scrolling through with that, show color that's kind of tracking it. Mm-hmm. So, if you don't have a date, if I was you guys, I'd probably say, all right, one of these things coming out. We have a goals of getting these things out here before the end of the summer. Anybody that's in software or whatever knows that those things can change, but we'll keep you updated on that. But do expect these to be, in the coming next couple months.
And those are the features that we hope to be covering in a little bit more detail during our Q4 webinar.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, great call, JP.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, did pretty well. 4 minutes over. We're gonna probably run through some other questions. If you have questions, and we can get talk through some features and things like that. So if you have questions, feel free to stick around and ask those things. If do you want to add something?
I was just going to say we can stick around for another 5 more minutes and go over some of these questions, but we've actually gotten several questions in here.
Okay. Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. So we may have to get back to you guys on those, but we will get respond to all of those, making sure. If one thing that we're these quarterly webinars are a new thing for us. We've done webinars in the past, but we want to make these things valuable for you. So this is kind of our first pass. If you have any feedback on it, on what we can do, what we could cover, ideas you have on maybe other webinars you've been on that have been helpful, feel free to send those thoughts and things to, was it to the email that they got about it, the invitation?
Yeah, you're welcome to respond to that at
and then
feedback@showflow.tv is the email address, and you can really just give us your feedback as a question in this webinar. I believe it saves all that.
Yeah, feedback at showflow.tv. Just mention you're on the webinar and you had some kind of question there.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's kind of just run through for as many as we kind of can.
One question that came through twice is a little bit in regards to both new features and Canny, since it is our #1 feature request in Canny, and that is chat.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I had more I could tell you. I'll tell you as much as it is something that we are. What I would suggest is getting on Canny and letting us know how that would be helpful for you. With the chat, there's a ton of chat apps out there. Slack is one that we use internally. I know a lot of other teams use Slack as well. So we're tossing around a few ideas, whether that's integration, whether that's building our own. So we're still actively reviewing that conversation. So I'd encourage you, if you have thoughts or ways that you think that would be valuable, throw that in that thread or send that through in our in-app chat, letting us know, kind of some of your ideas or how that would be helpful for you specifically. That would be, rather than just saying, yeah, I want it to really help us, we'd want to know, what are the use cases, where is that helpful, and how is that helpful?
Right, because it would help us in deciding what type of implementation we would go with when we allow you guys to communicate.
But to get a pulse on it, if you want to get notified as we're making changes to that feature, go to Canny, upload it, and you'll be notified then as soon as we either respond to that or update the status of that feature.
And let's see here, more questions.
Let's see.
Oh, we do appreciate the request from Doug with the Saskatchewan Rough Riders about a serif font. That's actually not something that we'd heard before, but certainly something
fonts are
in there.
Yeah, fonts is a good question. We don't have support of alternate fonts, but yeah, I mean, if you've got a suggestion, throw it in Canny or send us a note on it. We'll take that into consideration. Supporting multiple font styles isn't something that we've heard a lot, so it's a good request.
And I think the last question we'll do today is just one in regards to prompter view.
Yep.
Will prompter view have to have script imported for each speaker, or will it come via some other interface? In order for prompter view to display the script, it will need to live inside of ShowFlow. It will not be an integration with some other software hosting the script, if that's what you meant by that question.
Yeah, I mean, I think I can kind of talk to that a little bit. As of right now, the way that it's used is, for example, if this is my script, this is how you would build it. We have an import, which is, you can import an entire show at once into ShowFlow as a CSV file. if you've never done an import before, you can check out an article on it in the Learn site. That allows you to import an entire Excel file, essentially. So if you have it lined up in there, you could do a mass import. However, if you want to just import a script for a person, really the easiest way is just copy pasting that text from that one file into the cell of that presenter. So if I go to I'll go to this timing example, and let's just say here's session 2, and we have speaker A, and maybe my new column right here is the script, and I'll just make it wider. I'll just go in there and paste, all that text, right into here. You can do line breaks and all that to accommodate, but you're going to copy paste that directly in that cell. So that is tied to the element 21, which is speaker A. So you can organize those however you kind of need, but as of right now, that would be the only way to kind of, I guess, import like something maybe after the fact. If a presenter sends you over a script, after you've built it out in ShowFlow, you would need to copy paste that into that associated cell. So yeah, I hope that answers that question. But yeah, that is how that's existing. Yeah, JP threw some lorem ipsum in here. You kind of see how that works just by copy pasting. From any, you can copy paste from PDF, Excel, somewhere else on the web, and paste it directly in a cell.
Well, thank you everyone for your time today and all your great questions. There will definitely be some follow-up emails with both a link to the recorded version of this session and potentially some follow-up emails with answers to your direct questions. So
thanks so much for joining, guys. We're gonna go through the questions too and make sure that we get answers to everybody that had a question. So if you asked something and you didn't get answered, we'll follow up. But thanks so much for joining. Send us feedback if you guys have any ideas and how these can be more helpful. But yeah, thanks so much.
And hopefully we'll see you guys in next quarter session.
Yeah. All right, take care.
All right.
Bye, everybody.